Okay, now we're going to take a look at Unit 19, which is the passive with the modals. So we're going to combine what we've learned about modals with what we just discussed about the passive voice. So if you don't understand modals, that's going to cause a problem here. And if you don't understand the passive, that will also be a barrier to understanding this unit. If you take a look at the grammar notes, which are on page 312, you'll see what you need to know about the passive with modals. So in a passive sentence using a modal, we're going to start out with whichever modal you need. Could be will, can, could. Then you'll have be, and then you'll have the past participle. So they give you a few examples at the top of the page. The labs will be used for experiments. The crew won't be replaced this month. These sentences are based on the reading at the beginning of the unit, which you can do on your own. Crew members must be trained very carefully. If you want to put it in a current context, you could say something like, the parking lots at RBCC will be plowed by 11 o'clock today. That may or may not be true, but it's a sentence that works with the modals and the passive. So the parking lots will be plowed by 11 o'clock today, we hope. So here they are using will and be going to. In the modals chapter we didn't really use be going to and will, but they are using them in this unit to express the passive in the future. In number 3, they talk about using can for passive with present ability and could with passive for past ability. And they give you a couple of examples. The space station can be seen from Earth, and the past example, it could be seen very clearly last year too. Then we have future possibility or impossibility with could, may, might, and can't. And then we have the passives with advisability and necessity, and they give you examples there as well. So again, to use another example of current relevance, we could say these videos should be watched before Thursday's class. These videos should for advisability, then be to make it passive, and then the past participle watched before Thursday's class. So that's a good example of the passive with a modal. And of course, if you go to the chart on the page before, that would be 311, you can again see examples of how the sentences are put together. Starting at the top of the page, the decision will be made quickly. The decision must be made quickly. The decision had better be made quickly, to just mention a few examples. So they have statements. They have also examples of yes/no questions there. Will a decision be made quickly? Should a decision be made quickly? And so on and so forth. And the short answers, yes, it will, yes, it should, yes, it can. And with these short answers, all you need to do is use the modal, except if you're dealing with the be verb. So they give you examples of the negative answers as well. No, it won't. No, it shouldn't. No, it doesn't have to be. Okay, and that's a little bit about the formation of the passive with the modals. Now if we look back for a moment at the close quarters on page 308, you can see many examples of the passive with modals. So in the first paragraph, will decisions be made too fast? Will dinner be taken seriously? They're talking about cultural considerations, what people from different cultures are worried about when they're in this international space station setting. How can privacy be maintained? So can is your modal, be and past participle of maintain, maintained is the passive with modals. And then there are many other examples on the the following page as well, 309. So if we look at the first full paragraph on that page, those worries had to be tested. Great achievements in technology and science can be made, and many other examples. If you don't understand any of them, we can talk about them in class on Thursday. If you look over on page 310, we can just read through the answers for the after you read questions to save ourselves a little bit of time on Thursday. Okay, so you just have to put the vocabulary in the correct sentences. So our vocabulary words are assemble, benefit, cooperate, period, perspective, and undertaking. It took years to assemble the many parts of the space station. Number 2, astronauts stay on the ISS for a period of about 3 to 5 months. Number 3, the ISS is a big undertaking and has required a lot of planning. Number 4, it hasn't been difficult for them to cooperate on their missions. Everyone works together very well. Number 5, we all benefit from the scientific discoveries made in ISS laboratories. And number 6, seeing Earth from space changed their perspective. They see the world's problems in a different way now. Okay, and I'm going to skip part B for the moment and go over to step 3, focus practice on page 313. Here it says, read the interview with scientist Dr. Bernard K. by Comet Magazine. Underline the passive with modals and similar expressions. So in the first sentence, Comet Magazine, some parts of the ISS had to be canceled and some parts were delayed, but the whole station has finally been assembled. What an undertaking this has been. When was it completed? So again, we are underlining the passive with modals and similar expressions, and I don't think I see any others in those sentences. Then Dr. Bernard K. says, it was finished at the end of 2010. In February of that year, the last major sections, Tranquility and the cupola, were attached. In Tranquility, oxygen can be produced and wastewater can be recycled. Tranquility's equipment will support life on the ISS if communication with Earth can't be maintained for a period of time. There are several passives with modals in this response. We have oxygen can be produced, can plus be plus the past participle, produced, and wastewater can be recycled. And in the last sentence of that section, if communication with Earth can't be maintained, here we have the negative can't plus be plus the past participle maintained. CMS and the cupola, I understand it was built by the European Space Agency. BK, yes it was, it's amazing. It should be considered one of the most important parts of the station. It's got 7 huge windows, and the views of Earth and space are spectacular. So here we have should be considered, passive with modal. The modal should plus be plus the past participle considered. Why the big windows? Because robots have to be used for maintenance outside the space station. Astronauts can observe and control them more easily from these windows. But I think that the perspective of Earth and space that we gain from these views might be just as important. In this last section, we have the passive with modal, have to be used. It's actually the modal-like form, have to, plus be, plus the past participle. I'll continue on page 314. Why is that? Observing the Earth and space keeps the astronauts in touch with the importance of their mission. Originally, the station was going to include sleeping cabins with windows, but that part of the project couldn't be accomplished for a number of reasons. Now the sleeping cabins are windowless, and the cupola is everyone's favorite hangout. In this paragraph, we should underline couldn't be accomplished. Now that the station is complete, will more scientific work be done on the ISS? You should have underlined will be done. Yes, it will. The ISS is the first step to further exploration of our solar system. On the ISS, ways to grow food in space can be developed and new materials can be tested, for example. But most important of all, human interactions have got to be understood better. An international crew from 16 different countries makes the ISS a wonderful laboratory for cross-cultural understanding. This could be one of the great benefits of the ISS. In this paragraph, you should have underlined can be developed, can be tested. And I think that's it in that paragraph. I guess we don't know what might be discovered, right? Right, that's what makes it so exciting. And in the last sentence from CM, you should have underlined might be discovered. I'll continue with exercise 2 and just read through the answers. Obviously, you should do these on your own before you watch the video and find out the answers, because you want to have the practice yourself rather than just having me tell you what the answers are. But I'll read through before this video segment ends. So this is affirmative and negative statements. It's an article about zero G, that's zero gravity or weightlessness, and you need to put in the correct forms that they've provided for you. So it's pretty straightforward. In particular, you just need to make sure that you have all the parts, the modal plus the be plus the past participle. Don't leave off the ed or the d or excuse me, whatever the past participle form is. So starting at the bottom of page 314, some tasks can be accomplished more easily in 0G. Inside the station, astronauts can be protected from the deadly conditions of space. But life in almost 0G still can't be considered normal. What's it like to live on the ISS? Sleep can be compared to floating in water. It's relaxing, but sleeping bags must be attached to the walls of the cabins. Otherwise, astronauts will drift around as they sleep. Keeping clean. Showers can't be used because in 0G, water from a shower flies in all directions and sensitive equipment might be damaged. Instead, astronauts take sponge baths. Used bathwater has to be sucked into a container by a vacuum machine. Clothes could be washed by putting them into a bag with water and soap, but astronauts really don't have to be concerned with laundry. They usually put dirty clothes into a trash container, which can be sent back toward Earth and burned up in Earth's atmosphere. Dining. From the beginning, ISS planners have known that food should be taken very seriously. Unlike meals on early space missions, food on the ISS does not have to be squeezed out of tubes. Frozen, dried, canned, and fresh food can be heated and eaten at a table. Regular utensils are used, but meals are packed into containers that must be attached to a tray so they don't float away. Taking it easy. Not surprisingly, a stressed astronaut is a grouchy astronaut. Free time has got to be provided for relaxing and enjoying views from the cupola. All crew members have laptops that can be used for listening to music, reading ebooks, and accessing the internet. In the past, the internet could be accessed only for work, but now a direct internet connection is available for astronauts' personal use. Email can be exchanged easily with friends and family. And blogs, tweets, and videos from the astronauts are going to be enjoyed by millions of Earthlings. Staying fit. Time also must be allowed for exercise. In low-gravity environments, muscle and bone will be lost quickly without exercise. I'm running out of time for this segment, so we will resume with another video and more information about the passive with modals.